Welcome to Sorting Through Life with Colleen Waterston. I am your host and the owner and lead organizer at Space by Space Organizing here in the Twin Cities. And today I am joined by our show and our lives' favorite productivity coach, Ellen Fay. Ellen, welcome back.
Hi, Colleen. Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
So today we are talking about email. We talked with you a couple months ago, one of our first episodes, and we talked a lot about your book here, Productivity for How You Are Wired. And I think the biggest takeaway is exactly as the name says, productivity for how you are wired. And everything that you do throughout your book is about the customization of productivity for who you are, to not feel bad about who you are, to not try to fit yourself square peg round hole, but find the right peg size and the right hole size. It just, what I love about what you do and why I'm so happy that you're back and to talk about something specific like email, but with that lens, is you're here to help things work for people wherever they're at and however they function best. And so I'm so looking forward to talking about email from that. But for people who haven't listened in, Ellen, tell us a little bit about your book and about those the way that you categorize people and how that will give us context for today's conversation.
Great. So, I wrote a book to share with people everywhere the things I learned from sitting next to people for over 20 years, helping them with their organization, office organization, business organization, and productivity. So this was not something I studied and then said, oh, let me educate myself so I could write this book. It was like, let's take what I have learned and share that out to the universe, because not everyone can afford a productivity coach or a professional organizer. And I just wanted to help people have better lives. So the subtitle is Better Work, Better Life. Everything we do is without judgment. We are who we are. I don't need you to change who you are. Let's understand who you are, how you're wired, and then create your systems to fit you. So we explain based on, I kind of look at Myers-Briggs and different other elements, and we determine how much structure you need to do your best work. Some people need low structure, but they need some structure. Some people need high structure. They need everything really deliberately planned out, and on autopilot and into a routine, so they don't have to think about it. They can just execute and do their work and be creative and innovative and get their energy out there. And then there's people who need moderate structure. Because if I gave somebody maybe somebody who's really creative or an associative thinker, someone who thinks insequentially, if I tried to force them into a high structure situation, they would feel like they were wearing a straitjacket and they would just give it up and change for the sake of change. So we don't want to force anybody to be someone who they're not. We want to understand who you are, how you work best, and then create the systems for everything productivity related to fit you.
What I love about how you write and how you present what you have to do. So we met at the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals Conference. I was so lucky to receive your book. It is autographed, my copy, and it was from you, April 2024. And so you were the past president of the Organizers Association. And I really focused my business on the physical organizing of someone's house. I'll get into the physical paperwork as well, but I do not market my services. I don't have services to market on some of those back end structures, but I strongly believe in a physical environment being able to support a space of productivity, of flow, of supporting goals that people have for what they want to accomplish with their life, with their family, and having their space match it. My aunt died a hoarder, and I've often felt like my computer is like my aunt's apartment. Like I I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I just how have I gotten this way?" Because my computer, the way I save things, the way that my email, like I'm constantly forgetting to reply to an email or a text. I'll see something and you know, forget, and like 2 weeks later I missed the thing that I saw and wanted to go to but forgot to respond to. So for me, I'm outing myself here because I love relatability, but there are things like I can crush a physical organizing job. And when I said this fits in the week of the show I call the filing cabinet of life. And this is the stuff I'm really not good at, the stuff that I avoid. And so what I do love about your approach when you talk about all the different things, we'll talk about lists in the future and we'll talk about, time blocking and things in the future with you. But email is something it's a critical form of communication. It's people, reaching out to you, needing something from you, offering something to you. There's business, there's money on the other side of emails. The quick response, like I notice when someone responds quickly, I'm like, "Oh wow, thank you so much for so quickly
Right.
responding to me." And I think that you can tell my own disorganization in email by sometimes my lack of a quick reply. And so I'm really I why do you think email is so difficult to manage? Let's just start there.
Well, I want to even take it a step back. So every before I say tell you what I'm going to say, because some of you are going to say, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. You don't have to do anything. If what you're doing is not broken, you don't need to change it. I have this when I speak about email, I have this little cartoon and this woman sitting at her desk and she says, "Great, only 1,692,358 emails." And my question is, how's that working for you? So I know because my clients share their screens with me and I see their inboxes with 20,000, 30,000 emails in their inbox. Okay. Now, if that's working for you, listen to this and take what you want. But for most people, they say, this is the bane of my existence. I am embarrassed. I don't sleep at night because I worry about what's in my missing things in my inbox. I let people down. I am not doing my best work and being my best self because email is managing me. So,
That's so
for
real.
me, okay? So,
That's so
as you're
real.
listening, all of you lovely people out there who are wonderful in your own
I love you.
ways,
Mhm.
please just listen to what might be possible. Because
Mhm.
I really pride myself in my systems being simple, but it's a lot of work to get your email under control. But once it's under control, then you can stay on top of it. Honest to God, if I went and checked my inbox right now, I have less than 50 emails in my inbox. Always. If
That's
I get
amazing.
more than 50, I feel out of control. I do this and I really want to share this too before I start telling you what the problem is with email. I came up with a lot of this out of pure desperation. So, I had two kids at home. I was running my own business. I was president of the National Association of Productivity and Organizing Professionals. I was getting like 500 emails every single day. And what was standard wasn't working. And I had to come up with something. This is what I came up with. This is what we're going to talk about. Now, Colleen, we know that I'm high structure. We know you're moderate. You may not want to do all of this. And I'm going to give you some suggestions later on if you're a moderate structure person. How do you even make, you don't have to do the full thing I do, but the major cause of email overwhelm, the major cause is keeping trash in your inbox.
Yeah, you say that. And I like your metaphors a lot throughout your book, but I like it says keeping just what you said, keeping everything in your box is like keeping all your trash on your desk. And you break people down by there's inbox 0, there's inbox 1 page, inbox 100 to 500, inbox 500 to 1500, and inbox 10,000 plus. And so when we started this, I fit into that 100 to 500 category, and I am actively working. I'm not there yet, but I am actively working toward being a member of the inbox 1 page club. That feels okay to me, to be able to say, and just this morning, I switched so that I could only see the new ones up top. I did that for both my personal and my business emails. And I thought, brilliant. I already like this better. This feels manageable. But just in this, so one thing that you say that the first step to gaining inbox control is to remove everything that isn't current and actionable. And the way that you describe that, keeping trash in your inbox, and then how you're going to help us organize and look into this, the way you describe it reminds me of when I declutter someone's home. It's like we never start with the system. We start by taking everything out, taking the step back and kind of clearing what we don't need to include in the system. And so that's where it feels when you say, it's critical to clear out your inbox first. I thought of anything I do in someone's house, how we're clearing out what we don't need
Yes, I love
there
that.
before we go and make a new system. So for me, I was like, I can get that. Like so then I started to go and clear. So I'm not at the organizing. You'll guide that for me. But I cleared and just for my own clearing, because it's not the most fun task, I would say. It can be mindless, but it can be very time consuming. And it can be frustrating because you see, I dropped the ball on that. Oh no, I missed that. Oh shoot, I looked really unprofessional there. Oh, I totally forgot to respond to that person's very needing to be responded to. It just looks lack of respect and stuff. So there can be a little bit of shame that comes up, which is such an unproductive emotion, but it can come up as you look at all of the things that it's the same as in the organizing process. You're like, gosh, I spent $200 on that and
Right.
it doesn't fit anymore. Or I bought that for my kid and they totally aged out of it, and it's like, didn't even open it out of the box. But so for me, I got $190. I emailed you. I had emailed myself like 2 years ago to switch my bank account on my Cash App, which I don't use. I used for an activity book I was selling in the past, and there was $190 there now in my bank account, was just sitting in the internet in an app I don't use. Amazing. Tomorrow, I'm having coffee with my childhood choir director because we had emailed, I think, winter 2024, and it was like just a dropped off email because at the time I wasn't able to just keep it going. And then by going through my emails, I was like, hey, seeing this, how are you? Got a huge update from her. And tomorrow I'm bringing her a scone and coffee. And then one thing that I think was really interesting for me, and I think you're going to speak to this, I put a lot of stuff in, like I send it to myself. And I will like send myself a link to something to look at later. It doesn't work because I know 80 to 90% of those things I send to myself, I do not look at later. So I'm not using one of those, alternate companion collaboration softwares you talk about to capture things correctly. But then as I was going through these links of things that I email myself, it was amazing to me how many like organizations don't even exist anymore. If I met someone who is an entrepreneur doing their own thing and I emailed myself their website to look into and it's a dead website, and I'm like, wow, it's been that long, or a news article that's been taken off of the site. And so I've lost the content anyway because now it's gone. But also, so it's just like really half of the emails I've sent to myself that are taking up the majority of my inbox are not even they're not even accessible anymore. So it was kind of those were a few of the takeaways. I could make money off this, I could reconnect with people I want to, and I can release myself of things that don't even exist. So I think I'd love to hear your thoughts there, and then we'll come back after and go through a little bit more of your specifics.
Sure. Okay. So let me just make a couple points.
Yes,
For your
please.
email, an email has one of three homes. You file it in a folder for future reference. We're going to talk about how to set that up. You leave it in your inbox to act on it. For the people who say your email should not be a to-do list, I completely disagree. It is a companion to-do list. The only thing that should be in your inbox are actionable emails. Everything else gets deleted. And just like you've heard that you should only pick a piece of paper up once, the best thing, even my low structure people out there, moderate structure, high structure, it fits all of you. The one greatest gift you can give yourself is to build the habit of when you read something that is trash, to delete it and not leave it in your inbox immediately. So think of this. If you get the mail from your house, from the mailbox, and bring it in and put it on the kitchen counter and never, ever throw it away, you are going to have nowhere to prep your food. You are going to have nowhere to eat. You are going to have nowhere to live. If you have 30 years, I think the first email I received was in 1986. I remember that moment. So, what is that, 40 years ago? I remember that moment. It was crazy.
Yeah.
If I
My
kept
first email ever was 1971.
40 years of email and never threw anything away, you would not be happy living in your home. So,
Right.
the best habit is to get into deleting emails. The second you read it and you say, I don't need this, it serves no purpose. We'll talk about unsubscribing later and all of things. But that is the biggest and best gift you can give to yourself.
And I think from my physical organizing perspective, to really visualize your email inbox as physical, like to think if this was a stack on my counter, would it be serving me? How am I using this tool that's on my computer to help me the same way if I was spreading my paperwork out on my desk? Like that is how I kind of read some of your suggestions. That's how it
Mhm.
it was like I could process it better to be like, what would the optimal storage system be? So let's take a quick break and then we'll use your expertise and come up with some action items that people can take today when we
Can't
get
wait.
back.
Yes.
All right, welcome back to Sorting Through Life with Colleen Waterston. And today we are here with Ellen Fay, productivity coach and author of Productivity for How You're Wired. And we are sorting through emails. And so, Ellen, I would love to treat this little section as if I'm in the audience of a presentation. Like I'm lucky enough to see you presenting something on the screen. In the future, we can add in some, actual slides to connect on this. But if you were going to present to somebody, kind of motivate them to go home and open their email inbox and get started. Ready, set, go.
Yay. Okay. So, um, I'm going to talk really in generalities that all of you can apply today. If it's a specific, go on my blog, read how to do it. Everything's there. Of course, it's in chapter 9 of the book, I
12.
think, or 11. What, 12 of the book?
12.
Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot that. But, it's all like the detail. If you love this, the detail in the book, this is the most detailed, complex chapter in the book. There's no other way to get the information out, but you pick and choose what applies to you. So, when you were talking about finding things in your inbox, $190, I said to myself, because to be honest, I have a different approach. I want you to take everything that's old and just move it. I'm going to explain to you into an old emails folder or label or reference because it's so hard to stay up to date on your emails that if you spend all your life going backwards, you can't keep up with tomorrow.
What a
And it's
metaphor for life.
important. It's important that you like say, okay, I'm going to make a break And then I'm just going to worry about the future, because it's like going out to the beach and saying, I'm going to pick up a grain of sand and I'm going to clear the beach one grain of sand at a time. You will never be done. Now, so what I want you, the step one of my process is a quick purge of your inbox. I want you to declare email amnesty. So I don't know, sometimes the libraries will have the amnesty day that you can bring back overdue books and they don't charge you. But this is a gift to yourself. When you have time, I'm not having you delete anything. So when you have time, you can go back to this folder. So Outlook calls it a folder, Gmail calls it a label. So I'm going to use those file interchangeably. Okay. So you could go back to that file anytime in the future and work through them and find your $190. But
And you
Colleen, I guarantee you your peace of mind and your quality of life by getting your email under control so far exceeds any $190 you're going to find that that's more important.
I can agree with you on that. And I can be excited about my $190. But I was only at, 500 or so to start with. I'm not one of these 50,000, and I'm not shaming the 50,000. People have I don't have kids. I can't imagine the emails that come from kids things.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Right.
it's just a lot and different settings. But so one is this where if you don't feel comfortable just bringing it all over, you can do by year? Is this where you suggest like
Yeah, but let me
2023 goals?
fill in the blank and then I can explain that. So
Okay.
what we want to do is have you batch move old emails out of your inbox into a file. I don't care what you call that file. You could call it old emails, emails to read later, emails to keep for future reference. But remember, the three things you can do with your email is delete it, leave it in your inbox for action, or file it for future reference. So I kind of like for future reference or something like that. Now, in the olden days of email, we needed a lot of files because you did not have a powerful search engine. Even when I wrote this book a few years ago, the search was not as powerful as it is today. So if you're more comfortable, so what I just recommend you do is move like 100. So first of all, you want to determine where is my break point of what I want to move out? Is it 2 months? Is it 2 weeks? You know what? To me, 2 weeks, anything older than 2 weeks is already obsolete. It's done. That
Yeah.
time has moved on. You could go back later.
Half of
Most of
those
my
emails are events that passed or something that was a
Yeah.
current event of the
You
past.
can go back and I'm not having you delete. They're going to be there. You could search for them just as easily in that past emails folder as you can in your inbox. Search everything. You could tell the parameter of the search to search everywhere, and it will find it for you just like it would find it in your inbox. We're just taking it out of your inbox.
Well,
So most of
because
my
if you give it 2 weeks, like, if you get a recurring email, you've probably gotten it in the past 2 weeks. So you
right.
don't need the 30 recurring emails of the same I don't need the one that says, "My health insurance has been triggered."
If
I
I wanted the best thing for you, I would say do 2 weeks. But most of my
2
clients
weeks.
are comfortable with 2 months. So let's say we pick 2 months. You take every email in your inbox older than 2 months. If you move too many at a time, your computer will lock up. You don't believe me? You're going to try it. Your computer will lock up. So pick 100 at a time and batch move them. When you're sitting in a meeting that's boring and you have nothing to do, batch move these out. When you're watching something on TV, put your laptop in front of you and batch move these out. When you're at the soccer field watching your kid play soccer, batch move these out. When you're waiting in the carpool line or whatever you're doing, take those opportunities, take 100 at a time, batch move them out. And you could just Google how to move a batch at a time for Gmail or Outlook, and it'll tell you. Okay. Then once you're left with that 2 months or 2 weeks, whichever you've chosen, then you have a manageable amount of emails to start to process. That way, when you're getting 100 or 200 in a day, you're not you're able to keep up with those. So
Mhm.
step one is that quick purge of obsolete email. Just forgive yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Return it to the universe, get it out of there. Then we want to start processing what's left in your inbox. So I want you to now sort instead of by date, and both email and Outlook, I mean, Gmail and Outlook, you can just figure out how to sort, and it's easy. And if you can't figure it out, Google it or put it into ChatGPT, it'll show you. Sort by sender. Then I'm going to see everything that
Oh,
Colleen
interesting.
Waterston sent me. I'm going to see everything that this client sent me or that organization sent me. I could see it in context. Colleen,
Mhm.
it's just like sorting all your black dress shoes.
Yeah, it's exactly that.
Because then you could say, oh, those four hurt my feet and those two don't fit anymore and those are
Yep,
worn out. I want these three. We're doing that by sorting by
yep.
sender. It's easier for you to make decisions. Once you do that, then I want you to sort by subject. Again, it just helps you move things out faster.
Well, and
Then
I'll
you,
like all out NAPO. I have a lot of emails that come from our association, and some I could be looking up like the message board on the website when I have something, but it's a daily email that comes, the NAPO point. But there's NAPO, like my virtual chapter, and those are the ones I'm bummed if I'm like, shoot, I missed a meeting. I liked that topic, but because I see NAPO, I just see, oh, I'll look at it in the future. So by the sender thing, it's even able to be able to show which NAPO sender, instead of
yeah,
me in my head, I'm like, oh, I know I have a lot of sweatshirts, but it's like, oh, those black sweatshirts are what I wear all the time. White
okay.
sweatshirts, I never do.
I read my NAPA Point Member Connect in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. I don't remember it in the morning, but I look at it. Like that's one of the things I do when I wake up at 4 o'clock. Yeah, I'm sure there's a problem with that.
I'm
But
like, I don't
anyway,
know if they would say that.
but
Okay,
anyway, if
coach.
we all Gmail, Outlook has rules. You could always set up a rule to send Member Connect to a Member Connect folder, or you know what? I have one folder, I call it rules. All of my rules go into that. I set up rules for shopping for stores that I purchased from. I'm not ready to unsubscribe, but I don't want them in my inbox and I don't want to see them every day. So I bypass my inbox and it goes to my rules file. I look at my rules file once a day. It takes me a couple minutes to see if there's anything I want to click, and then I delete. But so you could do that with Member Connect. You can do that with the things that aren't relevant. So
So
it's
can I
kind of,
clarify? Because
yes,
so when I hear inbox, to me a lot that means unopened. But you're saying set up the rules and keep things unopened in a different place so that they're not you have this triage analogy you use, how everybody that comes into the ER is not treated the same. There's certain priorities, for good reason.
right.
And so you say when you're triaging your email, everything doesn't get treated the same. So to be able to have your 15 inbox, it's not like you're sitting at your computer deleting. You have rules that take new emails and put them somewhere else before they even hit your inbox. Is that
That is
correct?
correct. 100%. But
Because
I
I
still
have
get a
I've
lot in
never
my inbox that I could just do a quick, am I filing it? Am I deleting it? Or do I need to take action?
I've never in my life uh put in a new email in a category. Like I've
Folder.
never moved out an email without being read. So this is
Okay,
the new concept to me,
it
and I'm
is.
sure other
And,
people
and
of like,
my inbox is not, I'm not talking about read and unread. I am talking about unread. If you've read it and it's not actionable, Colleen, where does it go?
trash.
Or A
File.
folder.
Folder.
Exactly.
And if
So
it goes in
all
the trash, trash the trash, you say.
Oh, well, you know what? I only trash my I keep things in the trash for 2 months. So kind of like I have this routine. I was like,
Okay.
"Oh, like if my computer's a little slow, let me go empty my trash." And I'll empty 10,000 at a time. But it's almost like insurance that I know I'm going to have it for 2 months. So if I order something and it doesn't come, oh, I could go look in my delete file. I
Yes.
have 2 months. I have a 2-month cushion. Poof, and that's very, very comforting to me.
Yes.
So rules, clear everything out, and all those red emails need to move into your reference folder. Get them out of your inbox.
So then when it goes to folders and what's next? Okay, I love that. I get it. I get it. I do. It's not how I went about this, but now I do understand that, and I especially understand it for the 1,000 plus club and the 10,000 plus club. And it does make a ton of sense to me to give yourself to make your system from a limited amount and the most recent and say, okay, what can serve me today? Because 2 years ago, you might have been at a different job. Your kids were on a different team. And maybe even 2 months ago, your kids were on a different team. So the soccer schedule doesn't matter, but the basketball one does. And so now we're going to figure out how we're going to better great, soccer season's over. We missed a couple things, but we're not going to miss it in basketball.
I want
So,
to make a distinction. It's really important. I'm
okay.
jumping in. I do not want you to go back and say, "Oh, I don't need these soccer schedules anymore. Let me delete them all." You could do that later if you get to it. It doesn't matter. Your computer's big enough. I want you to batch move them all into that
Yes.
reference
No,
folder.
that's what I'm
Do
hearing. Like,
not read them, because if you start reading them, you're going to be living in the past and not in the future.
and frustrated with yourself,
Yeah,
which creates the emotions that are not conducive to
that are
productivity.
not serving you. Let it go. Like I used to say in my organizing speeches, you buy a $250 sweater and it's itchy and you never wear it. And every time you walk in your closet, you beat yourself up and you say, "Oh my God, I am such a loser. I spent all that money on that sweater and I'm not wearing it." Are you better off to donate that and give it to somebody who will keep them warm and they will love it, or to beat yourself up every day? You're better off to let it go and start fresh.
I agree.
I
Okay.
get
So
kind of
now
excited, but that's
I
you
know.
get
I
it. This is
mean,
and you
we
know
sing
when
the
you
same song.
organize, you say if everything's important, nothing's important. It's the same. If everything's important in your inbox, nothing's important. So
And I
get away.
say, I'm not anti stuff. I'm anti stuff getting in the way of your life. And
Yes.
so it's like, if that's getting in the way of your life, if that's getting in the way of your goals, if that's getting in the way of the person that you want to be, then let's get it out of the way. The life is too short to hang on to things that don't serve you. And I think this digital situation, which I am addressing through you, I admit I have a digital clutter problem, Ellen. Here I am, and I want it to be better because I know that it doesn't serve me. I know that it frustrates me. I know that I'm annoyed with myself. And so it's like I'm not the only person out there that doesn't, that feels because I feel like it's hard to stay on top of things in 2026. I mean, the amount of emails, there's a 4.2 million emails are sent every second. They're not all to you, but there's just so many. So
It's crazy.
now that we've committed to, like, let's say 2 weeks, 2 months, whatever it was that felt okay to you, what do you do from here?
Well, for low structure people, that is all you need to do. That will help you find what you need in your inbox. Moderate structure, use your flags, use your color, your I guess flagging, or in Gmail asterisks and priorities and those kinds of things are very helpful, so you don't lose important things. For my high structure people, I use the categories, and this is high structure, but I love this. Keeps me sane. But I've set up my categories like to parallel my to-do list. Like one, and I force it by numbers. And if this is interesting to you, I'm going to have you invest in my book.
Yes.
because it explains it. And I don't make any money off of that. I make a few dollars, like $6. So, but this will change your life. And for the people it works for, it changes their life. So I'm going to force the sort by saying one period space and very detailed. One period space today, two period space tomorrow, three period space this week, four period space next week, five period space waiting. That's where the things go that I've taken action on and I'm waiting. And then six period space sooner or later, seven period space to read. Then once you're down to maybe 50 emails in your inbox or 100, you categorize everything and you sort by categories. And by having those numbers, your email is going to now be organized by priority so you know what you have to do today.
And it's so interesting because that is something I want nothing to do with. This like
Right,
today,
right.
tomorrow. So that is that high structure. Getting back to the point of like, and what you say about low structure, people are functioning the low structure people out there who don't need all of this order to keep their life flowing and going. Good for you. Get rid of the old emails and move
It
on with
just
the way that you're doing
exactly.
things. So I like that, there's different approaches throughout this that can be helpful for you. Let's take our last quick break and then we'll come back and keep chatting all the things. All right, we are back. This is Sorting Through Life with Colleen Waterston, and I am a local Twin Cities based home organizer with Space by Space Organizing. And Ellen Fay is a productivity coach who's written Productivity for How You Are Wired. And chapter 12 of that book is around email. And so, Ellen, I want to talk about email etiquette. And for me, email etiquette is how you write, and there's some things that you've had tips for, kind of even the permission you've given people to make something good enough and send it, but including like don't oversend so many words. And I'm sure that you've been on the receiving end of my wordiness. I know that you have been. I'm a wordy person, but that comes across an email, and it's just a reminder that everybody's busy. So the what you write, but for me, when I think of email etiquette too, I think of email marketing. And I, as a business owner, what am I don't have a newsletter set up yet, but what am I sending people? How frequently? And as somebody who's been a creative entrepreneur for a while, I've met a lot of other creative entrepreneurs, and I love these people and I want to support them, but I am like, I can't get 3 emails a week from you. Like someone in the industry who I've bought
Um,
stuff from before, like she recently rebranded on something and is really having fun finding her creative voice and sending it to her list. And I felt bad, but I had to unsubscribe. So it's just like, I'm not your girl anymore and it's too much for me. If it's a friend, I will actually unsubscribe with like an email that's like, "Hey, love you, but I'm just going to unsubscribe," because like some people are smaller and they're checking their open rates, and I don't want to.
so this is a perfect place if you want to support someone but not waste your time. That's when you make a rule. And then it bypasses your inbox. You never have to read it. You never have to open it. If you want to, you can when you go look at your rules folder. But I mean, sometimes I don't have time to unsubscribe to everything. Like if I'm like at the airport waiting on a flight, I might use that hour to go through and unsubscribe it in batches. Okay.
One of my
But
biggest
for
pet
that
peeves is,
day in that moment, I just want it out of my inbox, bypass it, and I make a rule and I send it to the rules folder and I'm done.
I'm a big unsubscriber, and I can't stand when I get an email that tells me I unsubscribed. I'm like, just one more on your way out. You just had to get there,
And
Like
that's right.
I've unsubscribed from my family's group text. Like I was like, I love you all. If you want me to see a picture of your kid, send it to me directly. But I cannot look at my phone to 3 pictures of your kid and 20 responses to how cute they are today. Like I would have like for me that's too much. And so they know. And it's like I love you all. It's all good, but I'm not on the group text of the family because I don't like getting it's just one more thing to sift through. And there's also like I don't have a computer-based job. So I might have a full day of work away from the computer or away from the phone. And so I kind of have to manage that for myself so that I don't go back and get spammed. But you're saying if you don't want to offend a person, just make a rule and never look at it.
Or if you're not fully committed to wanting to unsubscribe, but you don't want to see it, make a rule. Like I had a client who, perfect use of rules, who was in HR, and during COVID, every single time somebody in her 20,000 person company took a COVID test, she got an email. Well,
Oh my
could you
goodness.
imagine all of those coming into her inbox? So she made a folder called COVID results, COVID test results, and made a rule that when the subject said test result, it went directly into there. So she didn't have to be burdened by that.
So what are your big rules or thoughts, not rules to confuse that, but what are your big like key points on email etiquette?
Okay, here we go. I have like 8 of them, but I'm going to hit them fast. Be concise. If you write a long, lengthy email, what's going to happen is that person's going to say, "Oh, I don't have time to read it today or now. I'm going to just leave it in my inbox and I'll get to it later." And you know what? Guess what? They never get to it.
Mhm.
So, as brief and concise as you can be, you will get your answer faster. When I worked with my contractor on a condo renovation, I sent her separate emails, each with a separate topic, because she clearly could not process 3 or 4 things at a time. So one email had one topic and another email had another, and she always could answer one question at a time. So, no, for people who are creative or have ADHD or just who are overstressed and too busy, keep it simple, one or two things at a time, send it. Don't overcomplicate it. Keep your subject relevant. That people use that subject. One client, he never has a subject in his emails. It drives me crazy. He's my client. I have to live with it, but it really helps for email management and for the people that you're communicating with if you keep your subject relevant.
He's just a
Um,
no subject person.
Pardon? No subject,
No
nothing.
subject.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It might say re or forward or something, but
You're right.
use reply all prudently. Oh my God. Like all these people who reply, like you were talking about the family chat. I
Yes.
just delete, delete, delete because you know what? I don't have time for that. That is not worth my time. So it's actually very rude to me that people use reply all for things that are not relevant to masses of people.
Mhm.
um, do not feel a responsibility to respond. You did not ask for that group text. You did not ask for those emails. You do not have to respond. I am giving you a permission slip right here, right now. It says you do not have to respond. Just get it out. Move it on. No, you didn't ask for it. You don't have to
It's
do it.
healthy boundaries.
Yeah,
It's saying I this is not how like this aggravates the relationship more than it helps because this doesn't work well for me. So it's like I would rather I would rather just be sent something to me and then I'll delight in it rather than, "Oh, no, this is just really this is just too much." So it's establishing those boundaries for yourself. That's kind of what your whole thing is talking about is
it is.
having boundaries in your email
It
inbox.
is.
Keep going on
If
that
you want, if
productivity
you want
or
fewer
the
emails,
etiquette.
don't respond immediately. Okay.
Great point.
So if you say, "Oh, I want to get this really matters," you're going to be in an email chat of about 20 if it's important. But sometimes, if it's not so important, I'll just sit back and let the 10 people go back and forth. And at the end of the day, I'll send one email and I'll say, "This is what I think," instead of wasting all of my time.
It's so
So,
interesting because on a day that I'm at a client's house and I'm not at my computer and I just can't email you because
and
I'm
it's
I'm
fine,
on
isn't it?
someone's clock. Yeah, like I'm doing something, I'm doing my job, and that person is paying for my full attention. So I'm not looking at my phone. But then on the days that I'm not at a client house, there's almost this feeling I should write back. And I remind myself, you could be at a client house right now and have 4 more hours till you're even looking at this, and that has helped me because I don't live in a world that is in a
Yeah.
cubicle and demands somebody, "Hey, did you see my email?" They can walk 20 steps down to your office and say, "Why didn't you respond to me?" So that is helpful to be able to. But do you think you should articulate those boundaries to people? There was someone I was listening to an email thing, and she said she has like a prompt after being like, I will try to get back to your email within 48 hours or something. And I'm like, that to me, you're just putting more email clutter in somebody else's, but you're stating your boundaries. Does that make
I
sense?
don't do it.
Yeah.
I've never done it,
Unless
but
you're out of the office.
yeah, yeah, and that's nice. Um, I think that's an individual thing, but I'm very mindful of about putting trash in people's inboxes. I don't think it's right. Two more really quick etiquettes.
Yeah.
Um, if you're on a team, make agreements. Like my favorite one is if you need to take action, put your name in the to field. If we are just copying you for a point of information, put your name in the CC field. Okay. And that means, oh, you don't even want my opinion. You're just telling me so I know.
Right.
So talk about those things with the people you work with. And the last thing is BCC means blind carbon copy. People don't know that. I mean, I don't know how, but people don't know that. Don't be embarrassed. So if you want to copy someone and don't want somebody else to know it, use that BCC.
As I was preparing for this, I thought we need like, are these classes being taught in middle school and high school? I was like thinking about the things I've learned in a professional environment, and I'm like, I wonder if kids are even being told, like to me, this is the etiquette of the day. Like, let's sit down and be like, technology etiquette 101, technology management 101. How can we best serve the next generation to actually be able to manage this massive influx. Ellen, we're on our way out here. It always flies by. 45 seconds. What's a takeaway that you want to give people today?
Delete your trash from your inbox. That's it. Like email should not run your life. You should use it to support you. Do not waste big blocks of time doing email. That should be for deep focused work. But if you have 15 minutes, do email.
I love this, and it really has given me a jump start for my own digital organization. I look forward to more, and I just thank you for being here, and I thank everyone for listening to Sorting Through Life with Colleen Waterston on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.